Yo, it's the Wizard. What's happening in the world? Are you having a good time? Do you like it? It's March 4th, and here's what you missed last week. Mitch McConnell, the ghoul, is finally retiring after being head of the regime for way too long. I cannot think of a single thing he did good for us in my entire adult life. Putin threatens to use nuclear force if the West intervenes more. And CEO Darren Woods from Exxon told editors from Fortune that the world has waited too long and that it was the public's fault. Yes, you're the reason. And if investors try to tell them that they need to speed up action, they're suing them, which is actually what they're doing. CC will cause generational trauma in great apes, and West Antarctic's Thwaites Glacier, Doomsday Glacier, actually began melting at an earlier date, according to a new study published Monday in the Proceedings of National Academy of Scientists. It began melting in the 1940s. Scientists are freaking out about ocean temperatures. Quote, "It's quite scary, partly because I'm not hearing any scientists that have a convincing explanation of why it is we've gotten such a departure. We're used to having a fairly good handle on things, but the impression at the moment is that things have gotten further and faster than we expected. That's an uncomfortable place to be as a scientist." End quote. Australia's Great Barrier Reef suffers from extensive coral bleaching. Scientists fear a seventh mass bleaching event. It's okay. Go to Walmart and buy more plastic toys, because boiling tap water for 5 minutes can remove nearly 90% of microplastics, a new study finds. CO2 hits record highs in 2023. Did it not just hit 425 parts per million? Yeah, it's spring already. Apple cancels building an electric car after spending billions in a decade. Giant waste of money. But they made face goggles instead. From February 4th to 7th, an atmospheric river passing through California unleashed 9 inches of rain on LA. The city was able to soak up 8.6 billion gallons of water during the storm, which is enough to support over 100,000 households for a year. NASA flight balloon sets a new record. US sees China's space threat growing at a breathtaking pace. Texas has its worst wildfire ever, which spread into Oklahoma, destroying at least 500 structures, 2 dead, and over 1 million acres wiped, along with countless livestock. Minnesota has its warmest winter on record. In fact, insane. All across the U.S., heat wave smashes records. Omaha, Des Moines, Minneapolis, Abilene, Detroit, Saginaw, Michigan, that is. Biden wants to spend $1.7 billion to end hunger across the U.S., and Kroger wants to buy Albertsons. Money spent on food is at a 3-decade high. Macy's wants to close a bunch of stores and open Bloomingdale's and another chain, I guess. Macron wants to send troops to Ukraine, but NATO said no, and Putin was like, "Are you dead ass for real? Because I'll nuke you, sucker." Grab the popcorn. Taiwan launches its first submarine, and more Chinese ships enter its territory. New YouGov data shows that most Britons are braced for World War III, thinking there will be one in the next 5 to 10 years. Nearly 1 in 2 Haitians are food insecure. Food insecurity is set to increase in Ethiopia as well from a drought. Africa's tropical glaciers have shrunk by 90%. Department of Energy announced more than $350 million for rural renewable energy projects from the bipartisan bill. 20 states and 30 tribal nations. Trump wins Michigan, Missouri, and somewhere else, along with Haley getting Washington, D.C. China urges largest nuclear states to negotiate its, quote, no first use treaty. South Korea and U.S. are doing more military drills to counter North Korean nuclear threat, and North Korea's satellite is operational on online Captain. 100 people died and a handful others with bullet holes trying to rush a food truck in Gaza. Antarctic sea ice reached its summer minimum of 1.97 million square kilometers, third lowest on record, below 2023 and 2022. Melting of Greenland ice could cause European heat extremes this year. Triggers feedback loops leading to hotter and drier weather in Europe. Farmers spray liquid manure on police as clashes break out in Brussels. Brussels said 900 tractors had entered the city on Monday. As the federal government rolls out billions in dollars of subsidies to produce hydrogen fuel for use in vehicles, $7 billion and 7 regional hydrogen hubs, scientists are warning this rush may not adequately consider the climate risks, like leaked hydrogen. Multiple studies have found burning hydrogen in power plants increases formation of nitrogen oxides, a pollutant that causes smog, harming public and also contributes to warming. Biden and Trump visited Texas border. Biden says Chinese smart cars are a security threat and decides to start air food dropping aid in Gaza. Over 65 people aged need to get an extra dose for the virus. LeBron James scores a bunch of points. There was a train derailment in Pittsburgh. And over-the-counter birth control is now available. Kind of waited too late. Marijuana used as little as once per month, linked to a higher risk of heart attack and stroke. Research has shown that people who score highly on tests measuring self-transcendence, you know, that feeling when you go walk in the woods or look at the ocean, over a mountain, perhaps think you're connected to something larger than yourself, well, those people are likely to have a strong sense of purpose in life, to feel good about themselves and to feel hopeful about the future and to experience positive emotions. Also reported heightened sense of well-being. So go take a walk in the woods. 46 people died in a fire in a mall in Dhaka, India. A new species of green anaconda identified in Amazon. The 11-mile Iditarod kicked off. Inmates escaped in Haiti, which is a disaster. Iran election has a 40% turnout. U.S. spends billions on roads rather than public transport in a, quote, climate time bomb. So all that money we passed in the infrastructure law, $1.2 trillion, is going towards maintenance and widening of roads so we can dig our grave further. Flooding in Peru, I think. I can't keep track. There's so many endless extreme heat events, heat waves in Thailand too. I can't keep track. Ransomware attack on U.S. healthcare payment processor, most serious of its kind. Global freedom receded for an 18th consecutive year in 2023. Report found that only 1/5 of the global population lives in countries considered, quote, free. Biden was worried about people that couldn't have sex during the pandemic and that high schoolers couldn't attend prom. The world is spiraling out of control in fake money artificially tied in stocks and debt that seems unsurmountable. Our future is an apocalyptic nightmare Mad Max cannibalistic freak show. Oh, that's a fact. Well, that about wraps it up. March 4th, this is what you missed last week. Support for this program comes from you, my viewers, this community, realists and doomers worldwide. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you for your support. You can use the PayPal donation link or Super Thanks. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good weekend.